Hello! So, welcome to Food Prude. I'm Laura Lawrence, a Northern Michigan homesteader, and today we are going to be showing you how we render our lard. We raise pigs here on open pasture with organic feed, and we just absolutely love our little piggies, and they make fabulous meat, of course, great bacon, and the byproduct is having plenty of lard because we are the accidental pig farmers, so we have a lot of lard. And I turn this lard into not only just baking, but actually turn it into a wonderful healing face cream as well as soap. Both of these items I sell locally and we use so much of it, and I have it on Etsy as well. So I like to use just really great, clean, organic products to go ahead and make stuff that people are consuming, or through your largest organ, which is your skin, right, with the face cream. So let's talk about rendering lard. Now, you can either raise your own pork or you could go to a local butcher and grab lard as well from them. Or if you buy a half or a whole hog, you can also make sure you tell your butcher you want to keep the lard. Because sometimes, if you don't put on your little document for the butcher, like how you want your cuts, they will keep the lard or throw it out and not give it back to you. So if you do end up getting it from someone or however you get it, make sure you say that you want to go ahead and keep it. There's a couple different kinds of lard. There's leaf lard, and that's the cleanest, purest. It's around the kidney, and sometimes your butcher will mark that it's from that area, and but most of the time what we have found through many butchers, even when we do it ourselves, it just kind of all gets put together. So you can specifically ask for leaf lard, or the other kind is back fat. So, but that's either one is going to be okay, because I'm going to show you here in this video how you're going to get different renderings while you are using the crock pot to do it. And I apologize, when I was cutting this up, the table was a little unstable. So the first package that I cut up was actually from pigs that we went and processed on our homestead. So when we stripped the skin from the fat, I chopped it up into a bunch of little pieces and then put it in those food saver bags and froze it until I'm using it today. Sometimes we've gotten all different types of ways from your butcher. Sometimes they give it to you like in those big whole chunks that you'll see in this other section that was very difficult to cut from because it was not like in a square, or maybe they've already ground it up for you. And the best way to do this is you want to cut the pieces into the smallest possible things that you want, little squares. The smaller you do it, the better the rendering will be. Sometimes when my husband does it, it's just big chunks, and I'm like, well, that's what we're gonna have to deal with because that's what I need. That's what I need. So you're gonna go ahead and get crock pots. You're going to cut up everything and you're going to just put them right into the crock pot. I used to put a little bit of water in the bottom to prevent burning. I have not done that since I very first started doing it, so I wouldn't worry about doing it. I'd like to turn the crock pots on high at first, and then just to kind of get it going, and then make sure you turn it down on low, or you will tell a difference between when it's starting to get a little too boiling. When you'll see in this one video where it's super boiling, the chunks are turning a little brown, so that's going to have a little bit more piggy smell to it, I guess you could say. And all of it will always have some kind of piggy smell to it. That's just what it is. But lard is actually, like the pigs are the closest to humans, so their lard, for especially for soap and face cream, works so well for people with sensitive skin and stuff like that, because it's the closest. It's better. Oh man, people are gonna come at me, but it's better than tallow, but it's closest to us, so it is going to be better, especially when you get one that is organically fed out on pasture, getting vitamin D from the sun, and I always say they're rooting and tooting and just being their happiest. You can't get any better than that, in my opinion. So it usually takes a couple hours for the crock pot to start working and get it going. You want to come back about every hour at least to go ahead and give it a stir, make sure it's not sticking or burning to the sides, adjusting the temperature. Once I get it up to high, I go ahead and get that back down to low. If your crock pot runs too hot, put it on warm. Go slow. It's better than burning and going hot. So you're going to go ahead, and when it starts to get liquid and the fat you're going to go ahead and grab something that's safe. I'm using a stainless steel coffee mug. I use this for all my things for canning and rendering and everything like that. And this is what we drink out of too. They work really, really well because it's not glass, it's not hot. And I'm going ahead and just kind of tipping the cup into the fat right there and then getting the liquid out. So your first rendering is when you first are able to get a lot of liquid out. And usually you can get like a quart out of each crock pot would be your first rendering. And then you want to go ahead and put that in a strainer that has a cheesecloth to catch all those little pieces and everything like that into a big stainless steel type of tub that you see there. Plastic is, never recommended or anything like that. When it cools off slightly, you can go ahead and pour that into quart jars. And you can fill this right up to the top. You don't need to leave a headspace or anything like that. It's not going to expand. And then you're going to eventually put a lid on it and then get a ring on it. And then I wrote down our lard first rendering, or H was for the processor that we had, the butcher. And then the first with the terrible handwriting that I have for the rendering. That is going to be your more clean, less piggy smelling type. You're going to get a number 2 and a number 3, and it's going to get a little more yellow and a little more piggy. Everything is super fine. I use the number 1 lard for when I'm making the face cream and the soap because I'm selling it to other people. But honestly, if it was just for us, and I totally am comfortable with using number 3. And then so with the other lard, you are going to go ahead and just use it for your baking. It makes great pies. I use it for sauteing in place of butter. You can also use it in place of butter for cookies and everything like that. So it just has a lot of uses for it. And if you want, so I'm combining the crock pots just to make it a little easier. And then at the very end, there'll be stuff that you just can't seem to melt. You can drain it and strain it, and then you can put it in your oven about at 400 degrees. And you're going to want a pan that has a lip on it because it's going to melt down some more. And you're going to put it in there 30 to 45 minutes, and that's called crackling. This is pure fat. It melts in your mouth. It goes great with roasted vegetables. So depending on how you are with your fat intake and stuff like that, it's a really clean one. Again, because it's an organic pasture-raised pig, it's good to have fat in there. So you'll notice that the jars are yellow, and then there's a white one. The white one is the first one that I pulled off. So it's cooling down, and it'll be that pure white snow. It'll be yellow when it's warm, and then they all will turn into the white, and then you just have them marked up. And then I will use some again, or you can also place this in your fridge to use up quicker, or you can go ahead and put it in your freezer as well, and it freezes wonderfully, and you just pull it out when you need it. Depending on your temperature in your house, you may be able to leave it in your cupboard just depending on how your temperature is. So you can see that last little bit right there. So I hope you enjoyed rendering lard. I'll leave the recipe so you can print it out and come back to this video when you need it.